How is everyone doing today? In this video, we are going to be talking about all the free characters you are going to get as soon as you start Zenless Zone Zero, and then not only that, we are also getting some from in-game rewards and also pre-registration. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to get, and not only am I going to tell you what these characters do, I'm also going to be telling you which ones to probably level up, because there's actually a pretty good cast of characters that we're going to have available to us that you probably want to level up if you either want to fly through content or have a character that's probably going to be good in the long run, because some of these characters have long-term investment when it comes to the scarcity of their element, or some of them just do a crap ton of damage early game that is going to allow you to delete enemies one by one. So of course, before we get into all that, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, and all that different type of stuff, and let me know who you are excited for in Zenless Zone Zero. And I'm just super excited to cover it in the first place, because man, from CBT 2 to CBT 3, I've had an absolute blast playing that game, and I cannot wait for y'all to get your hands on the game, which I'm just super excited for. So of course, talking about the starting trio that we're going to get, because of course we get a team of 3 that we usually get in every gacha game. We are going to be looking at Anby, Billy, and Nicole. Now, 3 of these guys, they're all the starter trio. You get them at the beginning of the game, and for the most part, one of them are actually really good. But let's go ahead and start talking about the other 2 before we get to that MVP, and then we'll get into the end game rewards and also pre-registration characters that we're probably going to get at the start of the game as well. So talking about Billy, he's probably the least in prioritization when it comes to him versus a lot of the other characters, not only that you're going to get for free, but versus a lot of the characters that you're probably going to get in your first few summons as well. He is a DPS for the most part. He is going to be ranged, and for the most part, he just has a really good way of animationally canceling to where you're able to use him and have him do damage, but you also have your other character that you're currently using doing their damage as well. He also has a very big range playstyle, so you don't have to get so close up to the boss or to certain enemies, and has some really good AoE when it comes to his ultimate as well. But regardless of that, there's not really that much that sets him apart from all the other DPSs and all the other characters that are going to be coming out, or versus the characters that are going to be there on day 1. The next character is going to be Anby, my personal favorite, and she is going to be a stunner. Now, she's actually a pretty good character when it comes to bringing up the days meter, which is a mechanic that allows you to not only stun enemies, but also to get you to use your chain attacks. That is going to be very, very pivotal to Zenless Zone Zero's combat. Now, I do think Anby, for the most part, is a strong character, but is she a high priority in leveling up? I would have to say not really, unless not only do you get grace from your beginner pools, or if you're just overall wanting to build an electric team, which is actually really strong early game, because a lot of the enemies that you find are going to be robots, which they take increased damage when they get shocked, which is from Anby's, of course, lightning that she has. She also has some extra moves that she comes from when using her skill at certain times during her string, which give you a stronger version of her skill, which actually is super good. And not only that, they've given her some buffs as well to be able to cancel from certain animations and be able to do even more empowered moves, which is a really good thing to have. I like that they're updating these kits as time goes by. Right there, Anby, pretty nice, not absolutely needed. If you are going to be building a lightning team, she is really great in getting that days meter built up. And then Billy, he has the ranger DPS playstyle, not really the craziest thing in the world, but if we're talking about a character that is super freaking strong and someone that might be a good investment for you when it comes to leveling them up, I'm gonna have to give it to Nicole. Out of the trio that we get at the start, Nicole is a very strong character, and there's a couple reasons why. Not only does she have AoE to her kit, which is pretty good for these type of games where there's a bunch of enemies swarming at you, she has a gather, which isn't too strong when it comes to her pull, but I think with dupes, actually it gets increased, which will help you out in doing a lot of damage in one area and allowing it to basically damage everyone else that you have in the field. But the most important portion of this, and the reason why Nicole is very strong, is because she's a corruption unit, or she's an ether unit. And there's only 2 in the game at the current moment, is Nicole and Zhu Yan. And Zhu Yan is a 5-star coming after Ellen. So the thing about this is that with Nicole being one of these scarcest elements in the game at the current moment, which is ether, and the fact that ether allows you not only to proc corruption, which is a very strong reaction that allows you to do more damage as you damage the enemy yourself, but also is a pretty fast way when you're gathering them. You have someone like Grace, you have someone like Anby, you have someone like Soldier 11, or any other character that can apply elements very quick. You get a lot of disorder reactions, and that is going to absolutely kill everything that is in your way. So having a character that's ether, either Zhu Yan or Nicole, which these are the only 2 units that have this ether element, that's going to be very strong. So the fact that Nicole can group up, and also the fact that she's one of the only elements that we have in the game for ether, that is not a 5-star and a premium 5-star at that. She has a lot of priority and can be a very good long-term investment when it comes to building out a team or having her on one of your teams at least, especially if you're planning on pulling someone like Grace or any other character that has some good AoE like Coleta or any of them like that. So those are the starting 3 characters that we're going to get, and Nicole is by far one of the strongest characters you can by far level up at the start of the game. Of course, this may change as time goes by, with Nicole probably not being the only ether unit to be available to us besides a 5-star, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, this is day 1. We're probably going to see some changes eventually very soon. Now, of course, talking about the characters that we're going to get later down the line when it comes to either in-game events or pre-registration, let's talk about the pre-registration reward, because it also will be a character you get on day 1. That's going to be Corin. Now, Corin is actually a very strong DPS, because not only can she bring up your days meter a very fast amount, which again, like I said, is able to allow you to chain attack, which gives you not only your parry gauge back, but also does a crap ton of damage, especially with the right units. Corin gives you a crap ton of days meter, and then not only that, because she hits so much and so frequently, whenever these guys are in their stun state after you do your days meter attack and your chain meter attack, you are going to be able to hit them with a reaction, which, if I'm not wrong, is assault for the physical element. And this does a crap ton of damage. No matter who it is, you're usually probably going to delete enemies once you hit this assault reaction with Corin. And she has a lot of AoE to her. She swings her chainsaw around very in a circular motion, and then you can hold it down on one enemy, either obliterating the boss or obliterating the enemies in front of you. She's actually a really good DPS to start off with if this is the character you're looking forward to. And then not only that, if I'm not wrong, she has physical res reduction, which is actually very strong, especially if there's a future physical damage dealer that you're probably going to get, someone like Nekomata, or maybe if you're trying to main Billy or something. That's a very big thing to have for her. So this is a really good unit that we're probably going to be seeing in our mailboxes on day 1. So you probably want to look into playing her, whether it's in the story, because there is a portion where you can play her for a bit, or in the trial. Give her a chance, because she does some crazy damage, especially in the early portions of the game. So you definitely want to look at Corin when she drops in your mailbox. Now, there's going to be 2 other characters that will be dropping, not from pre-registration and not from being free at the very start of the game, but in-game events that we're going to be seeing on the first patch. One of them is going to be Saku, and the other one's going to be Ben. Now, Saku is the one I have the most knowledge of, because I used her every freaking beta, just because she's so good for no reason, especially because when Ellen comes out, she's going to be the first 5-star unit, and the first 5-star unit is an ice character. So Saku so happens to also be an ice character with a very good sense in being able to build up the days meter of a lot of different enemies, allowing you not only to switch in very quickly onto Ellen or onto any other character that's ice, but also gives the ability to add on more ice for freeze, which is a very strong reaction to have. And then not only that, Saku with dupes, which I think we're going to be getting dupes of her, or she's on the banner with Ellen, so you're going to be able to get dupes of her very quickly. And if you have Saku with dupes, she actually gives ice damage boost, and also, if I'm not wrong, ice res penetration with her dupes. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that comes with Saku and building her, especially if you're going to be going for the first 5-star, which is Ellen, which she's an ice DPS. So Saku holds a lot of value if you're going for the first 5-star, which a lot of people usually do, and that's already 2 characters for that team. You're only missing one more, and that's going to be Lycan if you get the full ice team, which is by far one of the strongest teams in the game for sure, without a doubt, just because of how much not only damage that they do, but also because the freeze reaction is so busted, because the enemies can't move. They literally just have to stay there and take the damage until they get thawed out, and then you can just start trying to build up the freeze again. So Kagu is a really good unit for the AoE that she does, bringing up the days meter, being able to add on ice for the freeze reaction. There's so much that she does, especially when being paired with Ellen, which is our first 5-star unit, that is going to make her a very strong contender to be built up if you're looking to build Ellen out. So that's a definite character that's alongside Nicole that you really want to level up if you're going to basically try to start the beginning of the game and get Ellen very early. Of course, Corin as well, because she's just overall crazy, because they haven't tuned her down since CBT2 or CBT3. So Corin is also in that list as well. And then lastly, the character I do not like, the character I do not like, but I cannot take away the feats that he has, which is Ben, which I think Ben is actually a really good starter character for most. Ben is a really strong 4-star because not only does he have his ability to switch in and switch out, be able to dodge stuff just like everybody else, but he has an innate parry that where he just stands there and waits for the enemy to attack him, then he does a counter attack right after. This is actually very strong for going against bosses you don't know the patterns of, or to fend off against enemies where they're all basically coming at you and you have a button that literally says get away from me and you're doing damage to them in the first place. There's a lot of really cool stuff that happens with Ben, with him being a parry centric character, with having a lot more defensive options than anybody else in the game at the current moment. So if you really want to have a character that's going to help carry you through the beginning of the game, help you learn the mechanics a little bit faster, or give you some leeway if you don't want to 100% pay attention, Ben is 100% that character that you want to use for it. Now the cool thing with Ben is he's the only character at the moment that actually has a synergy with another character that allows you to have double skills and double ultimates. I don't know how to say this 100% the right way, but if you have Coleta on the team, which you can end up getting on your first 5-star that you get from the banner, if you have Coleta on the team with Ben, they actually have a joint ult where they have an ultimate together, and whenever you're doing their attack strings, they actually both come out at the exact same time. So this is actually something very unique and something that isn't in any of the games that we have at the current moment when it comes to Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail or even Honkai Impact. You have a character that's able to come out while the other character's fighting, and then you have that type of synergy there, and you also have the synergy from the ultimate, which is going to allow them both to combine theirs. Now there is one version of that in Honkai Impact, but you know, we're trying to leave everything for Zenless on Zero right now. But that is a really cool thing that Ben does have. He is a really good starter character, specifically for those that want to be able to learn a little bit slower and have a little bit more leeway when it comes to playing the game. And it's just really cool that he has the only synergy at the current moment with Coleta, and hopefully we can see more of that in the game as soon as possible. But other than that, these are going to be your list of characters that are going to be in Zenless Zone Zero, that are going to be absolutely free, whether you get them at the beginning of the game, when it comes to pre-registrations, and also some of the events that we're going to have in the game as well. So it's going to be Anby, Billy, Nicole, Corin, Saku, and Ben, with Corin, Nicole, and also Saku being some of the better characters that you really should invest in when the game comes out. But of course, try them out for yourself when the game comes out. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.